Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, AirsoftAL, and yes, a little bit of change of location in terms of filming because that's when I want to be a little bit more relaxed. I want to kind of give a sort of relaxed vibe to it. Also, I've got a lamp right there shining on me because it's kind of dark down here in the living room, so yeah, one of those things. I want to kind of talk to you guys about something I actually recently finally understood about and was kind of interested in wanting to look into a little further and kind of give my thoughts on, and that is grenades. To be more exact, spring-powered grenades.
I get it. I don't get it.
Spring-powered grenades are kind of an interesting concept in of itself because the whole process is that you don't use a gas-powered grenade, be it CO2 or green gas, like Thunder Bees or anything that's produced right now, and it's not a pyrotechnic grenade like Taggin or any of that stuff. In a sense, what a spring-powered grenade is what it is, in an aspect. A grenade that uses spring tension to actually launch the BBs. However, the spring-powered grenade didn't exactly start out for Airsoft. It actually started out for Nerf.
Excuse me, what?
Which is actually kind of cool to think about because then that just shows more of our communities combining to each other, even though now Evite is selling a pretty good spring power, a very good, not pro level, but pretty up there blaster that can accept a lot of standard Picatinny attachments. But we'll get into that in another video and kind of talk about how the two communities are actually starting to interwove together down the line. But let's go ahead and talk about the actual grenades themselves and sort of give my thoughts on it. And don't think of this as a review, just my general thoughts on the actual concept as a whole and sort of how we can go from there. So let's just sit back and let's actually talk about it a little more, shall we? When talking about grenades, or at least the spring-powered grenades, they start out originally for Nerf. And this was something that was actually kind of cool because Barrett, a YouTube channel I actually do watch, was talking about, did a WikiHow video, or at least looking at the WikiHow article, talking about Nerf grenades and sort of how they all work, or sort of how you can make one. And then a few years later, Light Tech, or at least a Chinese-based company, made Nerf grenades, or at least a spring-powered grenade in the shape of a, well, in a sense, a flashbang or a smoke grenade. Essentially the standard stereotypical tubical grenade that you would see as a non-lethal grenade, except it's being used for a actual, well, in-game grenade sending out shrapnel. Instead of shrapnel, however, it's sending out Nerf heads, rival rounds, things like that. And that's more or less how it is and what it does. And it does so in a way that actually works. Now the sad part is that the first actual batch of these things weren't consistent in terms of actual pressure, the amount of force it takes to open them up. These things were very much so brittle, to a degree, mind you. Not brittle as in you can throw them on the ground and they break. No, in terms of brittleness, I mean, if you toss it really hard on concrete, yes, they'll break, they'll chip off, it's not going to last very good. But it was definitely suited for more woodland play and not concrete or CQB in like concrete or hardwood floors, things like that. It was definitely more suited for outdoor play than it was for indoor play in the terms of the Nerf community. However, the Airsoft community sort of looked at this and was like, we could use that. We could definitely use that. And so the Airsoft community sort of started taking them, and we found out pretty quickly, hey, these can actually these can actually hold BBs. I like it. I want it. I want more of it. Me, please, yes.
Just take all my money. Oh, not this soon, not this soon. I'll take your entire stock.
From that initial reaction, we started producing our own grenades, specifically the Evite Grenades. Again, the information on this is a little bit sporadic, but the current colors of the Evite Grenades are red, blue, and orange, or at least I believe so. Now, of course, everyone's going to be asking, are they any good? Are they any of that? Basically asking my opinion on it. But you got to understand, people, I myself do not have any of these grenades. I wish I actually understood them at the time, because when Apex brought it up back in the day, last year, I believe, I thought it was like being made by UK Arms and things like that. And, well, let's just go ahead and say I wasn't exactly hyped about that sort of thing. So, yeah, wasn't exactly my cup of tea. But in terms of everything else, the actual concept of it was fairly good and was a great idea. And even now, they're actually being used. Well, not in wide numbers as like pyrotechnics, thunderbees, gas grenades, things like that, but they are a good alternative and a good starting point for people because of how affordable they are. It is pretty good, to say the least. And I mean that full-heartedly, considering that these are an affordable option for those who want airsoft grenades, but they don't want to spend the money that is kind of ridiculously asked for it, and not buy constant replacement shells for gas grenades or replacement parts for gas grenades. A spring grenade, in a sense, is actually a good, reliable alternative. And thanks to the recent additions to the airsoft grenade market that isn't primarily made for Nerf, but is, in fact, made for airsoft, there are some that are a little bit more, well, sensitive to being thrown and all that, and, well, you understand now it's just one of those things. I will say that if I myself actually could get these things, I would definitely full-heartedly use them and use them as loaners, because they are essentially cheap to get. They're 20 bucks a pop, or if you really wanted to, you could spend around the $40, maybe $50 mark to get a good chunk of them. You can buy them from wholesale markets like Light Tech and a few other Chinese-based websites, and you can buy them in bulk and spend less money on them. I bet you anything you can find them on eBay in bulk numbers for pretty cheap, and you can buy them. I wholly recommend field owners, or at least those of you who want to have, loaner grenades or some cheap grenades you can actually, give and do that. And to reinforce them, Flex Seal. I'm dead fucking serious. Actually Flex Seal. Like, put a coat of Flex Seal on the actual arms themselves that actually flip out, because those are the ones that are going to take the most damage.
That's a lot of damage!
And sort of reinforce them a bit. But then again, that's just my recommendation for it. However, the most recent addition to the actual Nerf grenade market / airsoft grenade market is a timed grenade now. Yes, a timed grenade. This one looking a little bit more like something out of Black Ops, or at least the Call of Duty franchise as a whole, and is actually kind of cool because it is a timed grenade, meaning that if you toss it, it won't automatically, on impact, go off. It will actually go off after a certain amount of time. So this would definitely be great for a sneaky booby trap or something of that nature, which would, as a whole, be kind of awesome. And I'm not gonna lie, I personally would love to have one myself and sort of use it as a booby trap, or at least something of that nature. So as a whole, what do I think of spring-powered grenades? Well, I kind of like them. I know, big shock, but they do offer something that is an alternative for the common man. Especially some who, in some climates, can't exactly use the gas grenades due to the, well, 3 factors of that region. Temperature, conditions, and how it affects the gas. Or at least something that would affect all 3 elements of a gas-powered grenade. And a pyrotechnic grenade can't exactly be used and is a little bit harder to get because it is a pyrotechnic grenade. They're a little bit more expensive, and you have to pay for the hazard shipping. With a spring-powered grenade, you don't have to worry about that stuff. And in terms of durability, like I said before, you can take some Flex Seal, paint on, actually coat the arms that are going to get damaged, and actually reinforce the body of the grenade as a whole. Believe me when I say, I love the idea of spring-powered grenades, and the idea of a spring-powered airsoft explosive, or at least booby trap, or even anything of that nature would actually work fairly well, and the same technology and concept could be put more towards more affordable alternatives. Even landmines, yes, hear me out here. Actual spring-powered landmines could be a good idea, considering they could work like mid-caps, where when someone steps on the middle of it, or a pressure plate as a whole, then the little clips that are holding the BBs in place would move, causing the BBs to shoot out. Think of it like a big mid-cap when you release the little clip, when you release that little switch, and it shoots all the BBs out of the magazine. Again, that's just my suggestion on how the technology could evolve as a whole. But as a whole, we're still in the freshness, or at least the start of, well, spring grenades. They still have time to grow. And while, yes, they still have time to grow, there is still more time to actually develop the technology behind spring-powered grenades or spring-powered simulated explosives and ordnance and things like that, and it really is just like that. There is a whole world of possibilities from a spring-powered that could could actually pop up from a spring-powered grenade, or at least the concept of a spring-powered ordnance. Like I said in the UK Arms RPG review, you could do like the Nerf bazooka, which actually had this massive spring that you crank back and you would fire a rocket pretty damn far. Take that kind of technology and apply it to apply it to Airsoft, and you have a whole world of possibilities that could be done. Instead of an RPG, make it an AT4, where you have this bolt that you have to pull back, or at least something that actually cocks the spring and puts the spring into a prime position where you could put a ball or something in that nature and basically fire that ball out of that tube. Or same thing with a bazooka RPG. Again, the world of possibilities is there. It's going to take someone to actually apply that, well, kind of technology into what we have now, or at least what can be done to it. That's just my general thoughts and rambling on the subject, so yeah. Thank you all for watching. As always, I've been AirsoftAL, the common man's airsofter who thinks too deeply into things so you can get inspired to do something yourself with the ramblings of a madman. And would you kindly consider subscribing to the channel? Hit the like button, notification bell, and bookmark, because apparently YouTube's notification system's kind of messed up, and you apparently have to do something extra for it to actually work. Oh, joy. Ain't that lovely? Anyway, if you guys actually want to help out in us being able to acquire these spring grenades to actually review, consider donating to our PayPal down below. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of spring-powered ordnance and what you can think of my ramblings and what you think the future of spring-powered grenades can do, or at least how they can be improved upon. I'd love to hear the fellow engineering side and fellow tinkering side of the Airsoft community and Nerf community. And, yeah. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I've been AirsoftAL, the common man's airsofter who rambles about cool stuff that I find interesting, and I will see you all in the next video. Till next time.